going to throw everybody off.
It is. I was wondering how we were going to...
You still lead the charge.
All right, I'll lead it in. All right, welcome to AdSquawk, your weekly deep dive into all things advertising. Grab a drink, pull up a chair, let's talk shop. I'm Sean, today joined by...
Eddie, and I'm in a different seat, and I'm not happy about it.
But you look good.
I am also sober, and I'm not happy about that either.
Not a lot to be happy about on a Thursday afternoon.
I wonder if those two things are connected.
I don't think they are.
Do you think you would be...
I am only sober because I'm mountain biking after this,
Oh, yeah.
and that's not something I want to do inebriated.
No,
Mountain
it's
biking.
dangerous.
This is not going to work.
That and the fact that I had no plumbing this morning, so I have not yet showered today, and I just had my first meal, and it is 2:15 in the afternoon, so...
I don't know if I'd go mountain biking.
Yeah, I'm
Jody
going to have
and
to... I'll
Danielle
eat
are
a little
also
more
here.
before that.
Yeah, I'm Jody. I'm here. Danielle to my immediate left.
We're in a different order.
We're all in different chairs.
Except me.
Except Jody.
Except for Jody, who's the one that came up with this whole plan, and I'm not happy about it.
No,
Well-
I'm dead to Ed
Mission Control can't move.
already for
Well,
the day.
it's true.
What's on the big agenda today, Shawnee?
Do things a little bit differently. We're going to deep dive into one topic as opposed to trying to break it up, because as I got into this, there was a lot of different things I wanted to cover, and I thought we could really go beyond with it.
Oh, shit.
Beyond.
Boom.
I think it's going to be a meaty issue,
Oh,
Fuck.
Man. I
or
don't
a
know.
not so meaty issue.
or a
Is
not
that-
so meaty issue.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to inject a little meat into it.
Well done, Edward.
Yes, thank you.
God, wow.
So we're talking about Beyond Meat.
Taste-wise, all
So
of it, yeah.
for those of you who are not familiar, this is a protein substitute,
Protein substitute.
not marketed as a meat substitute.
I thought that was really interesting.
We'll go into it.
So they are, they've been around for a few years. I believe they just went public this year, though.
Yeah.
And their
NASDAQ
stock-
listed.
And their stock's like 170 or something. They have a ton of partnerships. So we're going to talk about kind of them as a brand, some of their spots that are out in market, some of their partnerships, and really like who's the target audience. So I guess kicking it off, they are a protein substitute, not meat, but
They're in
they're in the meat section.
yeah.
And they're actually one of two. They have a competitor
Yes.
called the
there's probably-
Incredible Burger or something like that. Incrediburger or something like that.
Yes.
It's also in the meat section.
Yes, and very similar. There's several websites that like compare the two, the Beyond
And the other brand.
Burger. Is that
Beyond
what it's called?
Meat.
Beyond
Meat
Meat.
Burger and the Incredible Burger. I think that was the other one.
Beyond has they have the meat patties. They have like a I don't know how to say it other than a ground beef. So it's like you do what you want with it. And then there's some crumbles, and they also have
Sausages.
an Italian sausage, and then like a regular brat style
Plant-based
sausage.
ground is what they refer to it as.
Okay, yeah, it's like okay, it's trying to be ground beef essentially.
So we had some Beyond Burgers in the office this week.
How'd that work out?
Last week,
What did you think?
Our very own Christelle.
Christelle.
Oh, I had that wrong. It's the Impossible
The
Burger.
Impossible, not the
The
Incredible.
Impossible Burger is the competitor to the Beyond Meat Burger.
Yeah.
And then I tried the one from Carl's Jr. today.
So that's just, I
Yeah.
think they're just the Beyond Burger.
But it's flame grilled
But it's flame grilled.
with flame grilled flavor.
Yep. So Christelle brought some in and cooked them up for us.
Flame-
Ed is
Grilled
so mad at me. It's
flavor.
insane.
Yep. And we tried it. Jody, you had some, right?
All right, time I like
Yeah.
it.
I was surprised because I don't normally like
Meat
Like-
substitutes.
fake burgers and faux meat. And it was fine. I wouldn't choose it over a burger, but this goes into the conversation around who's their target audience, because Christelle was surprised that it was in the meat section.
She's a vegetarian, has been for
Yes.
I think at least 20 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
long
So if your target's vegetarians, they're not going to go to the meat section. They're just going to avoid it entirely. So are you targeting people who either to convert them, or maybe people who are needing to make a change for health reasons, or they're environmentally and sustainably minded?
What other section
I
would it be
think
in?
that if you were...
It would be
There's
like
a frozen. There's meatless. Like the meatless patties are in the frozen section.
Yeah, or they're in the veggie section with like the tofu, where you'll get like
Right, okay.
the black bean burgers.
Are they in
and stuff like
both? Or just exclusive to the meat section?
they're just in the meat section.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, getting shelf space is not very easy in the grocery store. But to me, it's very clear that They're not targeting vegans and vegetarians.
No.
They're trying.
And specifically because they spend a lot of time and have added a lot of ingredients for the very specific reason to make it look, feel, and taste like meat, including
Beet juice.
beet juice for blood, which just
Really?
grosses out
I missed
in a
that.
vegetarian. I think there are different types of vegetarians, obviously.
Yeah. Of
course there are.
And if you're in our business, this is why we do personas versus just demographic profiles of target audiences, because you could have vegetarian A who's a vegetarian because of health reasons and would love to eat meat if they could. And then you've got vegetarian B who's a vegetarian because of either taste and or philosophical reasons, and they don't want anything to do with something that tastes like meat, right? Especially if they're grossed out by
Right,
meat.
exactly,
Right?
yeah.
Why would you? It's like, if I don't like, I don't know, eggplant, I'm probably not going to seek out an eggplant substitute.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Do you think they captured the at least a fraction of the taste, Jody? Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Sorry, I was gonna fix Edward's thing.
Oh, it's cool. I
yeah.
sit there for
Yeah, you
24
never do it for
episodes
fucking
and you
Sean.
never fixed it, but
It was not. Look what he's doing.
What's
look
wrong
at
with this?
Yeah, look at that. You have a microphone stand going across the side of your
Well,
face.
we've made it very clear that it's not about me, so
So you passive aggressive bastard.
I'm looking at this camera right
That's
here.
not the camera that we're using. I'm using that one right there.
He already went with
camera is that
aggressive.
for?
aggressive.
That's
hard-
the
that's the hard
wide.
cam.
Oh my gosh, I gotta fix this. This is gonna drive me nuts.
okay, just do it. Just do it, and then you can answer.
I ate it
Leave my
today.
Yes.
microphone
I-
alone. I like this.
I think that it was. I think it may have tricked me if I didn't know. To be completely honest,
Yeah.
'Cause I had it. You guys had just like
The patty.
I had it with the bun and like all the other shit that goes on there: tomato, lettuce, ketchup, and it may have tricked me. I don't know. Remember those BK commercials where they did it? I think it was around April Fool's Day. They were giving the not Whopper, the anti-Whopper, or something.
I think it was the anti-Whopper.
It was something like that, and the commercial, at least, not actors, were saying, "This can't not be. This is meat. This is meat. You can't tell me it's not meat." So I don't know. I kind of want to. I can say this. Yeah. I kind of want to try. I can say this because Clark doesn't listen. I kind of want to.
Ever?
Yeah.
Bastard.
Well, that way I can talk shit about him. We all can. Just kidding. Like, I want to see if he would notice if I just said, "You want a bite of this?" But he's also not a big food sharer.
I'm really confused by how you get traction long term. I guess there is, I don't know. There's really it's a tough marketing question without getting into some political implications. And for me, I just feel that it's similar. It's a similar debate around global warming and climate change as the debate between electricity versus natural gas,
Coal.
heating. I think everyone can agree that there's no such thing as clean coal. Or everyone with a brain can agree there's no such thing as clean coal. But the idea that your electric car is a smaller carbon footprint than your gas car, that's not necessarily proven by science, right? So it's back to that whole. It's a bit more complicated than that, right?
I was about to say it. Dang it.
So one of the things I think most people believe, and I don't know whether this is true or not. I think that there's science that says things on both ways. I think that most people believe that raising livestock for the purpose of eating beef or drinking milk, and let's just stick to cows for now, and we won't get into chickens and pigs and other things, is incredibly damaging to the environment.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of they're growing, getting rid of trees and natural habitat of animals, wild animals, and those sorts of things to plant crops peanut crops and soy crops is equally damaging to
Right.
the environment
Like the
in a lot of
rainforest.
ways. Exactly. Right, to grow palm oil and all sorts of other things. So,
But, yeah.
at the end of the day, it gets all wound up into politics, and nobody actually knows what the real science is. And I don't know. I'm a big believer in the fact that you can have a very healthy diet that includes a lot more red meat than what the American Heart Association recommends. It just has to be good and has to be clean. It has to be well raised.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that the fat in a good like Snake River Farms, which is a company out of Idaho that makes a Wagyu beef product, an American Wagyu. So it's kind of Kobe mixed with Angus, but the fat in it's a very high. It's higher than prime beef from a standpoint of intramuscular fat, which is what gives beef its flavor. But the fat is extremely, extremely clean, and actually is not as much of a monosaturated fat as you would think, and it burns very cleanly in the body as fuel. So that's just my own personal belief that it's just a bit more complicated than
delicious.
Let's get rid of beef and plants will save our planet. But they require water and they require land and they require a lot of...
Well, the emissions portion is, I think, a big part of what everyone's beef with the
Boom.
meat industry is.
Like the cow burps that create methane, or the emissions
the
of
methane stuff.
the
is
methane
what
from from their burps and from cow manure.
Yeah.
Right. Which most big operations are now seeing that and turning that methane. They have methane
Into something.
digesters, and they
Right.
can turn it into
Which is
it's
smart.
actually fuel to burn. They can reuse it. Because you have on the other side of the equation the equipment and everything needed to grow the crops, and not to mention the trees and or natural habitat that was cut down to plant the crops to begin with. Crops are generally soybean, peanut, cotton, whatever the crop is not a good cleaner of the air as trees are
So
from a
here's
standpoint
a-
of oxygen
What about
exchange.
peas? Because the
These
beyond
use
it's
peas or peanuts,
pea.
yeah,
The other side of the
which are legumes.
of
Yeah.
the
Wait.
cattle deal, when you take the manure and work that into the soil, it actually retains more carbon in the soil.
Right.
And there's all kinds of cool studies
We
on
should have done more
cool
research
studies.
on this.
But I mean,
I'm not a scientist,
But
but-
here's the thing, though, and I think you bring up a point. It's figuring out what is the balance. It isn't one side or the other. It's figuring out the balance of how does it work and why does it
Right.
work in this certain way, and you can't go all the way to the one side because you're inherently going to have
Right.
issues there.
Right.
What's the balance?
Need to ask something really quickly before we switch. When they say pea protein, you're saying they mean peanut protein?
No.
Okay, I was
But they're both legumes. They're very similar plants.
Okay.
One article I saw that was listing ingredients of the Beyond Burger
I read that as
listed
well.
peanuts as
Oh.
as an ingredient, and another one listed peas as an ingredient. But either way, it doesn't matter. They're very similar plants. They're both in the same family.
Can you have
peas, peanuts, lentils are all legumes? Yes, I can.
Okay.
And they are high protein. Which, by the way,
I did not know.
Here's a little known fact. You guys love these little.
I
nuggets.
love little known Eddie facts.
So, have you ever noticed if you're playing golf or you're down by the lakes in our town where the geese are, they especially like to eat clover.
No.
Yeah.
Like they'll go and search out these patches of clover, and the reason they like to eat clover is that clover is also a legume, and
It
it's
is?
loaded with protein. So
know it's good
when
for
you
your
see a
lawn.
duck eating clover versus grass, it's because they're eating protein. So even animals know how to find protein sources outside of meat if they're vegetarians. Just a little known fact.
It's
Learned
a
that from
clover
a friend of
burger.
mine who owns a bunch of nurseries.
So this is a total aside. They went public in May of this year. Their IPO price was $45,
Whoa.
It's 2 months ago.
and their current stock price is $162.91.
Right.
So
Yeah,
quadrupled.
it's definitely.
in-
I
Big
mean,
backers.
they're
Yeah.
definitely following
Yes.
some major food trends.
Yes.
and I'm just very curious to know where all of this settles out. Yeah, scientifically would be great. What we do in marketing is we always talk about the truth well told, That's on one side of the equation. But then on the other side of the equation is the great line from Rolling Stone back in the 80s, and that is perception is reality, right? So on one hand, our job as marketers is to help our clients tell the truth. But then again, whatever something is perceived as becomes its reality, and the truth, the real truth, is kind of hard to get to in some of these situations.
Yep.
As an example, we have a client who is a dairy. Milk and milk protein, by a lot of counts, and a lot of people who are worried about how we're going to feed the world, especially third worlds, milk protein is one of the major ways in which we can do that and do it efficiently. So what I'd love to see is how, what's the difference and what's the ultimate effect on the planet and global warming and all the issues that we're faced with between dairy operations, for instance, and growing peanuts and soy or peas and soy for plant-based protein. Because either way, they're both plant-based proteins. One's just using a cow to get there, right? The cow's eating plants.
Yeah.
And then processing it into protein via its milk. So,
Or flesh.
yeah, or if we're eating them,
Delicious.
they're flesh, right? So I don't know.
Would you guys eat lab grown meat, like actual meat, but
No.
grown in a lab?
Does that exist?
They're working on it. It's actually, so in my research for this, one of the things I found was kind of comparing the two. And Bill Gates is apparently,
He's a Beyond guy, right?
well, he's backed the lab grown.
Oh, I thought I read that he was.
He's probably got ties.
He's
to
got
multiple.
He's got his money in a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Bill Gates doesn't strike me as a foodie.
I doubt it.
saying.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
I don't know about lab grown meat.
I know. No.
Everyone should go watch the movie Soylent Green this weekend. Does anyone know that? Soylent Green. It
Yep.
was Soylent Green is people. It was a pig. Yeah, it was a
It's like To Serve Man.
yes,
The,
basically they
Twilight
were.
Zone.
Yeah, they were eating people.
Probably my favorite Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah,
To
gross.
serve man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cookbook.
The most dangerous game kind of situation.
Yeah.
Isn't that what
Yeah.
that one
That
was
was-
about?
that was hunting
It's hunting
people.
people.
For sport, not for
Okay, $5 to whomever can tell me who wrote The Most Dangerous Game.
Fuck, I should know this. It's been a long
Should
time.
Absolutely know this.
It's an initial.
You remember? Why do you know that? Do you like it? That story a lot?
Come on, this is what I know all sorts of useless
Yeah, that's
shit.
that's true.
That's my deal.
I know useless shit too, and it's usually like in the literature lane.
I hope I'm
Oh!
right.
I know.
You just said it. You said the first part of it.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
that's not where I was going with it. I was just. I
Oh,
had-
Henry?
Oh, Henry.
Oh, Henry.
I don't know this. Yeah, you should give it a Goog and let us know. No one's gonna win.
I concede my potential $5.
His real name was William Sidney Porter, but he went by O. Henry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And his
name?
stories included Guide to Massapon, Cabbages and Kings, The 4 Million, The Gift of the Magi, The Ransom of the Red Chief. Oh, is it here? Is it here?
Oh.
Just go most dangerous
The
game.
Most
Sean, you have it.
dangerous game.
It was a short story by Richard Connell.
So do you owe us all?
Yeah, we all get
$5?
$5.
I owe you all $5.
Just kidding.
No, he said if we knew it, he'd give us $5.
Published
Yeah, but
Not if he didn't.
January 19th, 1924.
Oh, wow.
Gosh, I thought for sure that was O. Henry. God damn it. Okay,
Oh, upon its
we're gonna have-
publication, it won the O. Henry Award.
there we go.
So-
That's how I see.
$2.50.
I was close. $2.50.
That was nice,
$2.50. And we're gonna edit out. Well, I'm just gonna say what famous award. Here, let me give you. Hold on. Let's get some
It's gonna be
clean
a hard
audio.
edit,
Everyone,
like-
everyone, sure. We're gonna get some clean audio. For $5, do you guys know what famous book award that story won?
The O. Henry Award,
You're right. Correct.
There it is.
$5 in Jody's account.
It also has been called the most popular short story ever written in English. That's a weird qualifier. What's the most
I'd like to
popular
know.
short story ever?
Well, I'm guessing it would be Chinese because there's a lot of them to read a short story,
Yeah.
right? Because popular is
Yeah.
just population. Like how many people read it? I don't know.
I don't know.
It may be a bit more complicated than that.
Keeping the conversation with Beyond Meat.
Beyond Meat.
So we've talked about who they're actually trying to target, and I agree. I think that you're not gonna. I think the way that they've gone about it, they've identified their market segment as people who probably don't want to make a change but have to for whatever reason.
Or people who've just been convinced that meat's bad for you.
Yeah, but it's
Somebody-
but again,
yeah.
it's not necessarily the it's not the
This is
ethical
so-
implications of
I think it's less
meat
No.
ethical.
because, yeah.
No.
Well, even the spot that we watched.
It's that
you sent
how
the
many
link
times
to.
they get beat into their head that you should only have red meat once or twice a week.
Yeah.
I just find that to be a complete utter bullshit. But
I
that's
love red
just
meat,
me.
and
Again,
I
if you're
always
eating
have.
cheap
Yeah.
red meat though,
What's that?
if you're eating cheap meat,
Well,
then-
but
yeah,
also-
if you're eating hamburgers and
Yeah, but that is so. If you're talking how much processing goes into that, if it's super processed nasty meat versus, I'm guessing the meat that you get is from a butcher.
yeah, it's very
You know where the meat comes from,
yes.
so that there, I think
Yeah.
that there's a
I know how
difference
the
in
cows
that.
were raised
Yeah.
and all
I know the
that.
cow
Grass-
personally.
Right. So the cows that I eat, the freezer that
Yeah.
I know those cows.
I know those.
I know where they came from. I know where they lived. I know what field they ate out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
And I'll-
95%
yeah.
of the world lives in a city and doesn't have any idea
No
where their
clue.
food
Yeah,
comes
which
from.
I get that.
Which is one of the things, in our business has been very interesting. Our particular agency handles a lot of agricultural clients, and so when you learn where food comes from and how it gets from a seed or a baby animal or a whatever to on somebody's plate, it's amazing
Pretty
the amount
impressive.
of effort, work, investment that goes into that. The United States is better at feeding the world than anyone, which is why it's such a shame that we're kind of this isolationist country right now, because we could be so much more of the
Helper.
yeah, just this. There's so many solutions to the issues that are in our country, are in our world right now, that we are not only that in some cases we're the cause of, but we also are the best people to solve it. So we got to get after that. I don't know. I got kind of a little political there. I've been doing that.
It's
lately.
hard. This is a very hard conversation to have.
Not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do honestly believe that the American agricultural community truly does care about, for the most part. There's bad actors in every industry,
Of course.
right? And we saw that with the Fairlife controversy a week
Yep.
ago.
What happened with
Yeah.
Fairlife?
Catch me
That's
up on
your
that.
brand, your milk brand.
Yeah, so there's a organization that supports ethical practices in agriculture, and one of the things that they'll do is they'll plant people undercover in various agricultural settings and then
Like Undercover
expose
Boss,
it. Yeah,
but at
like
farms.
Undercover Boss. Yeah. Anyway, there was a bad actor at the Fairlife dairies who was abusing baby calves. Just manhandling, roughing them up and stuff to get them to do what he wanted, and which is not the experience I've seen at any dairy I've been, because these are their
take care
this
of
is,
that.
Yeah, this is the money
your
maker,
future.
right? It'd be like, but there's bad bosses right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry. A cash cow, perhaps.
a cash cow. This is the cash cow. So really, the idea that there's a person abusing a baby calf is the same thing as working for a horrible boss that verbally abuses you or sexually harasses you or does a number of other things. There are bad people everywhere, right? But there's often this like desire to say, okay, well, a whole industry is bad when there's a bad person. Like, is all of pharma bad? Because I'm guessing that despite the douchebag that raised all the prices on EpiPens and people like that who are horrible people in pharma, there's probably a lot of scientists thinking, I'm trying to cure fucking cancer here in pharma. Are they bad people?
No.
And if somebody cures cancer, do they deserve to maybe, be able to afford a new Audi from time to time? I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're I'm willing to make that trade. Hey, if you want to cure cancer, I'm good with you making $1 million a year. I mean, if you cure cancer, fuck, why not?
Yeah.
Right? I'll pay you whatever.
I'll pay you $1 million
So-
if you cure cancer.
I don't know. I just think my experience is that the agricultural industry really does, especially in the last 10 years, is really thinking about how are we going to feed the world? How can we do this the best way and the most efficient way? And yes, maybe practices that we've used for centuries or decades are no longer good practices. I think everyone's kind of getting the idea that maybe this whole Roundup thing is not the best way to do it.
Right.
But I think even then there's science and argument to be had both ways. So anyway, I don't know. And then from a marketing standpoint, I think that there's just a ton of misleading information that marketers are doing all the time as it relates to food packaging. Like saying something is non-GMO that was not even grown is stupid, right? Of course it's not GMO because it's a hair product or some shit. I'm like,
Delicious.
or gluten-free. It's not even something that's edible. So who cares if it's gluten-free or not?
What?
There's just some of these buzzwords,
How does that
all
even get in
natural,
there?
organic, gluten-free.
Kosher.
Organic's about the only one
Kosher
that
hairspray.
actually has some
So yeah, I go.
somewhat, real guidelines around it. And anyway, I don't know. Everyone's like,
Yep.
okay.
Sorry, I was just looking up nutritional facts. of
What'd you
Beyond.
find?
At least for the main patties, you buy one pack of patties.
The preformed
yeah,
ones.
and there's 2 patties in there. So that's it.
Just 2?
Just 2. 290 calories a patty, 22 grams of fat,
It's a lot more for a beef patty.
6
though.
grams of carbs,
like calorie
20
wise.
grams of
Yeah.
protein.
That's an interesting packaging, though.
Well, so that's what I wanted to pivot to. I really like their
Yeah.
packaging.
Cool packaging, but I think it's interesting that it's just 2. I don't think it's targeted to the big family. You know what I'm saying?
No, and it's absolutely not. Even so, the actual pack of ground plant-based, it looks like it's a pound. So it's probably the same as.
That's
All right.
Yeah. I think there's 4 sausages in the Beyond Sausage.
sausage.
Well, 4's a party.
4 is a party.
2's a couple, 3's
Yeah,
a
I
crowd,
had the
4's a
Carl's
party.
Jr.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna have a
It
sausage
looks good.
party,
It looks
have 4.
like when you look at it closely, like it's clearly not meat, and then texturally, like I can tell, but it's like it's one thing to compare it to like a Carl's Jr. patty, and then it's another thing to compare it to like you getting nice ground beef or something and hand forming your own things like that. Just between the fast food and the shit you make yourself, not to be like rude and say shit, but like there's a difference between fast food and higher quality burgers, and then there's a difference between the fast food patty and the Beyond patty texture, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't even like. So as an example, everyone knows I'm pretty into cooking. I don't even like gourmet preformed burgers that I can buy in the grocery store that are high quality Kobe Wagyu beef.
Yeah.
The grinding process gives them a chewiness that I find unappealing. So I literally grind my own beef. I go to Costco.
Yeah.
I get prime sirloin and I mix it with choice chuck and usually a prime flat iron or a Wagyu flat iron. Grind it myself and eat it fresh that day, or freeze it. But it's a nice loose grind, and
So one of the things I thought was really interesting about the direction that these guys took was their partnerships with fast food joints, because we're a fast food podcast now. So
We are, and we're a fast food country.
Yeah. So it just, to me, that's another proof point of not going after the hardcore vegans or vegetarians because they're not the ones eating at Carl's Jr. or Del Taco.
And there is no question that whomever is the brains behind Beyond Meat is smart.
Brains of Beyond.
The group of people who are doing this have played it very well. I think that the tie-in with fast food is very smart, and I think that their stock, has shown that since their IPO.
Yeah.
People realize that they're onto something. I thought that their website was well done, although I will say this. I was highly disappointed that they don't offer an ingredient list.
No, they do. It's hard to find.
It's really hard to find.
No, and I was going to say the same thing. It took me a long time, but I did find it. Sorry, I got excited.
Where was
You
it?
have to drop it down, and it doesn't, intuitively to me.
In about?
If I can show you on the laptop, but it's like you go to the products, and you have to expand it for it to list the ingredients, because I wanted to know the exact same thing.
Right. That's bad UX from my standpoint,
Agreed.
unless they just simply don't want people to see the ingredients. But the whole idea is if you're saying this is something that you can substitute for meat, it's going to taste like meat, and it has all these great plant-based ingredients in it, ingredients should be
Forefront. 100%. It shouldn't have been as hard as it was to find the ingredients on their website.
Take a page out of Bud Light's book.
Right here. It's
See?
under product detail, and it's a very weird, non-intuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very non-intuitive. But I like that they have recipes on here. I think that they...
there's everything else on the site is great. That was my only...
And I totally agree.
My only complaint with the website was just I never found the ingredients. I went and Googled it.
That has to be... That's a choice to do it that way. Why? What's the motivation behind?
It's not
hidden.
Here's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily a choice to do that more so than just an oversight.
That just seems to me to be a weird oversight.
I think.
You're in an industry where that stuff's super important. That shouldn't it be super easy to find?
How many times do we see shitty ads on TV? People make weird decisions all the time when it comes to marketing. Stupid decisions all the time when it comes to marketing.
If they have smart people, don't you think that these smart people would also be like, the ingredients should be on the it shouldn't be that hard
the
to
way
find.
we could solve this, it would be for someone from Beyond Meat
to contact us
via via Twitter or our Instagram site or
we have a great UX person
and let us know
who are trying to get
what the thinking was there, and then we won't talk shit about their UX or whatever. I think it's a missed opportunity. I don't know. I can't think of any reason why you would understate or undervalue or in any way try to make your ingredients hard to find.
However,
it just doesn't make sense to me. They obviously have gotten both products have gotten some pushback with regard to, well, this one ingredient is non-GMO, or this one ingredient is GMO, or this other ingredient is highly processed, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Partnerships.
Well, yeah.
I love that they got Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a nice spot.
And it was a really good spot, and it was...
Del Taco spot was boring.
The Del Taco spot was boring, but I think it matched the brand. So they did a good job.
Del Taco hasn't done great.
Yeah, so it was... To me, those spots were not Beyond Meat spots. They were Del Taco spots.
They were Del Taco spots.
That
were featuring
the use of the logo and the...
What about the Carl's Jr. with the weird prospector guy?
That felt like a Carl's Jr. spot.
It was a Carl's Jr. spot. It wasn't as funny as their other stuff, but at least it tried.
It didn't have Paris Hilton, so...
I know. At first, I think I opened the CBS video first, and I saw Paris, and I was like, what, they brought her back for this? And then I realized I wasn't watching the actual spot. I got a little bummed. Speaking of Paris Hilton, they're likely bringing back Simple Life with Lilo.
Yay.
Okay, so go back to what you're talking about.
I was watching something random on Netflix, and it had Nicole Richie in it.
I like her.
And I was like, haven't seen you
What
since
happened to her?
Yeah, whatever happened to her?
She got married and had kids, and she does fashion stuff and acts a little bit as well. And she's on a better life course. She's, I think,
You're right.
sober.
Yep.
Right.
In a functional relationship, seemingly, at least right now.
Regularly dancing on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a comedy show about being an anchor.
Oh, the Tina Fey show. It's Tina
Yes,
Fey.
yeah.
She is on that show.
Yep.
I want to see that. There's a new movie with.
Give me more.
Sounds like actors.
Late Night. I want to see Late Night.
I haven't seen any previews.
It's about a late night host, Emma, the
Which
British
one?
actress, the British
Hermione?
older. No,
Oh,
older.
I don't know her name.
Shakespearean. Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson.
Emma
Yep.
Thompson.
know
Late
that name,
Night
but I
sounds
can't.
like a great movie.
Gonna have to get it.
I have not seen.
You'll
the
be like,
previews.
oh, her, and it's Mindy.
Yeah, Mindy
Oh.
from the Mindy Project. I like her. I think she's funny.
Mindy is funny.
Yeah.
Always The Office.
Kelly Kapoor, the business bitch.
The business pitch. So yeah, I'll be curious to see in the future what other kind of sports and brand partnerships. I didn't know if we wanted to talk a little bit about sports partnerships and
Potential opportunities.
how
or
those
what?
can elevate a brand.
Well, we certainly could. The thing I think that will happen with the Beyond, I mean, ballparks is a great entree for them. For Beyond
Totally.
Meat.
Yeah.
And then you can start tying in the athlete with the product itself and
Yep.
yada yada. It's funny. I think you really like the Chris Paul thing. For me, that there was just a bit of a disconnect there. Maybe because, I mean, I'm not the typical NBA audience. While I do watch the NBA, I don't live in a super urban city, and I'm a white dude. I mean, what else? I mean,
This is a fine line.
I liked it more because the message around it was like doing what's right for my kids and not like,
right.
I don't know. It was bringing him in as a spokesperson without. I think they adapted the messaging to fit the brand versus.
I don't know. I have just a philosophical issue with right versus wrong, right? That there's a right way to there's a right way to eat and a wrong way to eat.
Yeah.
Because science is constantly changing their minds on what is right and what is wrong, right? So
milk's good, milk's bad.
Yeah,
milk's good, milk's bad.
Exactly. Fat is good. Fat's bad. I mean,
some fats are good. Some fats
are bad. Exactly. Which fats are good? Which fats are bad? It's all about calories. No, it's all about time of day you eat. It's about how much you spread your meals across.
Yep.
Every body is different. Is the bottom line. Intermittent fasting, right? So every human is unique, and requires a diet. I mean, we're just not all the same. I mean, I spent a good portion of the mid-90s trying to eat no fat because I thought that that's what was making me fat. Well, guess what? It wasn't. I can eat all the fat I want. I eat a shit ton of fat now, and I'm not fat like I was then. What was making me fat was all the sugar and all the non-fat stuff. So, but it was science that was telling me that. It was the latest trends. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, anyone who's into marketing food has to follow trends, but I would just prefer there to be less this is good, that is bad in food marketing, because I don't think anybody really knows. Now, having said that, I think that athletes and sports are a great way to introduce products to people and transfer brand over, transfer a good athlete or a good celebrity that people have an affinity for, especially if they feel like they're a good person or they're community minded or really have great leadership skills. Things of that are tremendous ways to when you associate your brand with those folks, human beings just tend to see that association very quickly and make that connection much more so than if you told them these are all the qualities of our brand, these are the values of our brand. Having somebody else who shares those values say it.
Well, contrast that spot with if it's just a actor mom.
Right. Or if you use a celebrity that has no credibility, i.e. Kylie Jenner in the Pepsi stuff, right?
Kendall.
Or Kendall Jenner. she has no credibility from a standpoint of
Black Lives Matter.
why would a Pepsi Cola all of a sudden save the day, and certainly
was
why would
such
it
a
from you?
disaster.
Yeah. So, there is, like anything, it's the solution's not just simple. It's about who the celebrity is or athlete. How do they relate to your brand? So at least in this scenario with Chris Paul, he's doing it from a standpoint of I'm a customer and here's why.
Yes.
And this is what, and yada yada. But I feel like there's a disconnect between him and who their ultimate target is. Is their ultimate target the NBA fan who knows who Chris Paul is? Because I don't know. Is it a large African American target, or is it a very young urban target? I mean, I could see young and urban.
Mm-hmm. I would see that.
But
I think NBA stars speak to a lot of people. Like
if you saw Chris Paul, well,
if I'm a little
here's the
boy
thing
who
with
loves
Chris
basketball,
Paul.
I
Here's the
don't
one
listen
thing
to
I'll say
him.
with Chris Paul. I don't think Chris Paul's been nearly as valuable had he not done the State Farm stuff. So I think that in some cases, the first for an athlete, the first thing they choose to associate themselves with, or the first real brand, and how well that is executed, plays a lot to their credibility and their value moving forward, right? Because I think that there's probably a whole shit ton of people who are not regular watchers of the NBA who would not know who Chris Paul is except for the State Farm commercials. Obviously, anyone who's an NBA fan does, but that's a pretty narrow target, and I don't know why. I guess I'm wondering why NBA.
Because he's an athlete and he cares about his body and he cares about what he puts into his body.
I get that, but why NBA versus football versus soccer versus actor, actress?
So if I was strategically planning for this,
This is where I wanted to go.
Yeah, I would have done the Chris Paul spot, and I would have placed it in basketball, and I would have done a similar spot with
For other sports?
for different athletes,
Right.
and done a general spot, and you could have done a suite of 4 or 5 that you leveraged the traffic, in different ways.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm guessing Chris Paul probably has some involvement with the company beyond
Beyond.
being
Yes.
beyond being a spokesperson.
He's
In
fitting.
other words,
He biggest.
I don't think that there was an ad agency sitting around brainstorming on who could we get to endorse this. Chris Paul. That's my point. There's no connection there for me. Now, obviously, with things like Gatorade and tennis shoes and then the floodgates are wide open.
Sounds like there's
But
one
is
with Kyrie Irving as well.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe they've both been outspoken about being vegetarians.
Yeah.
I just don't know this about them.
Yeah, and I
don't.
I mean,
think they
I
are.
don't either.
Right. So that's just my only point is that there's just a bit of a disconnect there for me.
If you had to be restrictive and only have one star athlete, who would you pick?
In all time or
brand?
currently living?
Just currently living. It'd be hard to cast somebody that's dead.
You talking about for this
For
product?
this, yeah, just for
For
this.
this.
Yeah.
For this product.
What's the most popular sport that most people watch?
And you saying athlete or any celebrity?
I will open it up. Any celebrity.
Any celebrity. I'd probably go with somebody like Ellen DeGeneres or a.
Ooh, she'd be good.
I think she
really-
is a vegetarian too.
Yeah.
Really good
Well, that's
choice.
that's my.
Great answer.
I mean,
is-
she's obviously be super expensive. I
Right,
mean,
but-
she's about as expensive as you can get.
Yeah.
A lot more expensive than Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Worth it,
Maybe
though.
Ellen
Not if she
DeGeneres.
believed in
Maybe.
Also that.
Yeah.
I think she has a lot of believability. Is the thing with Ellen.
Yeah.
And we have a partner that does kind of branding through Hollywood, product placement, influencer, that sort of stuff. Every product wants to be on the Ellen show. I mean, it's a very deep and loyal audience that has a lot of that's high profile, even though it's daytime TV. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like we're not talking, like nightly news type numbers. But yeah, probably Ellen, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Who else? Maybe, I don't know. George and I think George Clooney and his wife Amal.
Yeah.
If you could get them to do a spot together, that'd be pretty.
That'd be good.
They'd be pretty good at that. I mean, I love the stuff that George does for Nespresso. I think you're selling tiny little things of espresso that are that you can recycle the packaging, which my wife and I do. So but it's a pretty foo-foo, target.
But I like the believability though aspect that you're bringing into that though, where
What do you have
that fits. It makes sense where you're going with those. On all of them.
I just Googled vegan celebrities and found a bunch of examples that would be terrible. Like Casey Affleck.
Yes, that
or Steve-O.
Or Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
What kind of list is that?
This is the best list ever.
Are there any positive candidates on your list?
Maybe Dak Shepard.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson.
Dak Shepard
The younger
has
Hemsworth?
a good following.
The younger Hemsworth.
Liam Hemsworth. Is he not Thor?
He's
No.
not Thor.
His older brother is. He's the one who's
Thor?
Chris.
Chris.
Chris
Liam's the
Hemsworth.
one who's married to Miley, who's also vegan, so that makes sense.
Oh, he's in Malibu
Malibu, exactly.
with you in
I like that
Malibu.
song.
Dude, is this the craziest
little
picture
rhymey
you've
to me.
ever seen of Joaquin Phoenix? And that's saying something.
Yeah, let me see it.
right.
Turn around the laptop.
He looks like.
Yeah, he's psycho.
Ooh.
Why would you put that on there? That's,
Alicia Silverstone's
how does that?
also-
Oh, everyone likes Moby. Moby could be your...
Does everyone
Moby
like Moby?
dated Natalie Portman, didn't you know? Here's this photo to prove
Nobody
it.
likes Moby.
Maybe Ellen Page.
Have you not heard this whole thing that Moby is claiming that he dated Natalie Portman? She's
No.
like,
She's like, no, I wasn't even 18 years old yet, and you were creeping me. He's like, well, why do I have this picture of us when we were together in this photo?
And she's like, yeah, I'm 17 in that
she's
photo.
like, yeah,
or
I'm
16.
and she's like, and I'm still saying we never dated. Like, and I think he finally came back and apologized. But
Just
it was like,
kidding.
I don't know if Moby's.
That was
And
sarcasm
Moby?
on my part.
you
No,
can
I-
go get
no,
stomped by
honestly.
Obi. You're 36-year-old boy. You don't know me. You're too old. Let go.
Did
Nobody
I just
listens to
see
Techno. Now let's
a
go.
did I just see a
Efron.
No, I saw
He's a vegan?
Go back.
Wait,
Just go back in your browser.
but also,
Keep
is
going.
Zac Efron a
Keep
vegan?
going. Right there. Is that
Why won't anyone answer?
I don't know the answer.
Pfeiffer?
I would answer you.
yeah, it's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'd get her all day long. I mean, the woman
Can I
is
see Michelle Pfeiffer?
Michelle Pfeiffer is in her 60s.
She looks
They're still
amazing.
writing pop songs about her.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many songs where they literally
They
will
reference her,
say
yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer, she was as hot as Michelle Pfeiffer, or Michelle Pfeiffer this, or Michelle Pfeiffer is the quintessential just...
I don't know any
Ugh.
pop songs she's in. She is beautiful.
Yes, you do. You just don't know you do.
I need you to help me and name one.
Google that.
I usually have good recall. I just
I don't know about the validity of this list because it goes.
It's on the
It
internet.
goes Benedict Cumberbatch, Zac Efron.
Is he really a vegan?
Beyonce?
Yeah, she's not a vegan. Or last I read about her, she's not a vegan all the time, but she is for the most part.
Bill Clinton,
Okay,
Giselle,
I believe that.
I believe that.
Because does Tom even eat?
the chick from Big Bang Theory,
Which one? Kaylee
Blossom,
Kuok.
Oh, yeah.
Blossom,
That doesn't surprise me.
Jason Mraz,
Okay.
Ellie Goulding,
Okay.
Jessica Chastain,
Okay.
and then our girl Natalie Portman.
Oh, yeah.
Moby's ex-girlfriend.
Moby's ex-girlfriend, Natalie Portman. Madonna, Portia de Rossi, which makes sense because Ellen,
Ellen. I think Ellen is because of
Ariana, Miss Grande.
Yeah, but her Starbucks drinks that came out weren't vegan, so that was like a whole fucking thing. Everyone was like, "You're a vegan, but you're partnering with Starbucks and making drinks that aren't vegan." Blah.
Authenticity.
So you've heard of the song Riptide by Vance Joy?
Oh, he talks about her in that.
Closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen.
Okay, nice.
Is the line.
Okay.
That is, no, that is.
That is.
Yeah. And that's
Uptown Funk
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
say
by Mark Ronson with Bruno Mars. This hit that ice cold Michelle Pfeiffer, that white
Okay.
gold, right?
They're all songs I know.
They're all
As soon as you
very
say
popular
it.
songs.
Exactly. I'll give you some more here in a sec.
'Kay.
Keep going.
Go on, peasants.
Kate Mara.
Really?
Yeah.
Kate Mara.
Mr. Peter Dinklage.
Really?
Of course.
Olivia Wilde.
Kate Mara.
Knew
is
that.
so
James
cute.
Cameron. Emily Deschanel.
On this week's episode of AdSquawk,
Not
we'll
so-
be
and crazy man
presenting-
Joaquin Phoenix.
we'll be presenting
Once
a
again.
very thorough
Show it.
list
Better
of
picture.
all the
He's a
vegetarian.
weirdo.
Does look
I love it.
crazy.
Anyway, so
Well, he is crazy.
So
Come
these
on,
are all
yeah.
lists of people who we
Most
may or
crazy
may
is a good
not get.
I don't know if it's that good, but
Spokesperson.
he's crazy and he's talented.
Yeah, he's very talented.
I love when he went on the talk
Can
show.
I tell you a quick funny story
Absolutely.
of my deceased father?
Oh. Starts off
Well,
not that funny.
it starts off not so funny. He had a little bit of dementia towards the end of his life, and we're watching. The whole family is watching over Christmas holiday. We're all watching a family movie, and it just happened to be the Johnny Cash biopic featuring Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon.
Yep.
My dad was a huge Johnny Cash fan in the day, but he had already kind of gone around the bend a little bit with his dementia.
Around the bend.
And in the middle of the movie, he's like, "Whoa, I never knew Johnny Cash had a hair lip." Because my dad was 80 years old, and that's
Is that
they
what
didn't
you
call
call
him
it's
cleft
cleft
palate,
lip? Okay.
a cleft palate, and we're like, "Dad, no, just the actor playing him does." Well, if he didn't have a hair lip, why'd they hire an actor with one? Oh, well.
That's a good question.
And it's like, well, Dad, it's a bit more complicated than that.
There was one other topic that I wanted to close
Oh.
out
Oh, I thought
with.
this was a single topic show.
It is.
It is.
Oh.
This is in
It's
relation.
all,
This is-
it's all, it's
okay.
all
Yes.
related.
No.
All right.
Sorry, it's not
the
a
deep
second
dive.
topic. It's sort of a rounding out of this topic, but
little
it's
tangent.
on the flip side. So Arby's is now making veggies out of meat.
I love that. That's
It
hilarious.
was like this is like the total polar opposite.
Unapologetic.
They've
It's
got the meat carrots.
They got the meats. It's the like sausage carrots.
It's ground turkey.
Yeah.
I think they also use beets to color it a little bit.
The beats thing just
the
it just cracks me up.
Yeah. I just thought it was a funny sort
It's
of.
carrot hot dogs, essentially.
Yeah. In the essence of us being a fast food podcast that
Yep.
we've really determined. I'm a big fan of what Arby's has done in the last 2 to 3 years with their marketing. I think that they've become relevant again.
Yeah.
That we have the meats with, and using the voiceover from, is that
You
Vin, who does
you
that?
always say it's Archer.
No. Archer is the chef guy now, but
Oh.
we have the meats.
Oh, I
is
don't
the
know who
guy
that
from
voice is.
he was in all the ocean, he was in the
Oh, you're
Ocean's
thinking of
no, not he was in the
Bing Rames?
Mission
Bing
Impossible
Rames.
movies. Since they started that campaign,
Oh, okay.
and they just have sort of owned
Yeah.
their. See, I love when brands own. This is who we are. We're unapologetic
Yeah.
about it. And Arby just said, "We're meat. We're meat. We're meat. We have the meat.
Roast beef.
We're a meat. We're a meat place, right?"
Arby's.
You ever had the meat mountain?
Yeah,
We have the
meat mountain.
the meat mountain.
Do you have
I've
it?
never
It's
had it.
it's a secret menu item.
Is it a secret menu item?
Let's debate that.
Oh, and it is
Meat mountain.
1 million
Arby's.
calories. Would you pull that up and read?
I'll take that shit over Arby's every day. Though.
Was that
Per.
that was your French
was
dip
like
stuff that you made the
Tuesday
other
or
day?
fucking
That was
something.
Tuesday. Yeah, that
Where-
was.
here's what I
Snicker
want.
So it's on
Farms.
their website.
I'll show you.
Do you have
There's
like
one right
a
behind you.
keys to the space-time continuum?
Well, you got it.
How do you find the time to make stuff like that?
I got home at about 5:30. I cut the end off of a piece of strip loin. I seasoned it. I put it in a 500-degree oven for about a half hour, and then slow roasted it for another 2.5 hours. Sliced it on my meat slicer. We ate dinner at 9 p.m. like the Spaniards do, and then we went to
Little
bed at
siesta.
11. Yeah.
That's a good night.
Well, in the summertime,
I was like, kids
we
don't have
typically
school.
don't eat before 8, and a lot of times we eat at 9.
I mean, the sun
it's
doesn't
just
go
the
down
sun
till
doesn't go
fucking
down
ever.
until
Ever.
10:30. So
I know.
where we
Drives-
live,
Kills me.
That gives away too
which
much.
is not Alaska.
All right, the meat
So
mountain.
keep guessing.
All right. I'm
Okay.
ready. Hold on. Okay, I'm
The
ready.
meat mountain sandwich. Wait a minute. I thought it was a secret menu item.
It is.
How can it be secret if it's on their website?
It's on their website.
It's on the secret menu website.
See,
Back
Again.
to secret menu. It's a button.
but you can't have a secret menu on your website, right?
I feel like
Yeah, you
if
can.
it's just, okay, so
You are so random with your secret menu rules. It's like, I am the king of the secret menu rules, and whatever I say, go. You're the Donald Trump of secret menu rules.
Oh,
That's fucked
You
up.
just, you
That
just
was
say
fire.
whatever you want to say,
That
whenever
was
you want to
too
say
far.
it.
Look, it's gonna be huge.
It is going to be
It's
huge.
gonna be
the Meat
huge.
Mountain.
Yeah. Biggest sandwich Arby's has
Didn't
ever
even
sold.
acknowledge it.
that was funny.
Nancy,
Stack.
Nancy can't even get her mouth around this meat sandwich.
Stacked ridiculously high with almost all the meats, 2 chicken tenders, slices of roast turkey, pit smoked ham, corned beef, 13-hour smoked brisket, USDA choice Angus steak, roast beef, and pepper bacon.
No shit.
And
Nancy
cheddar
can't get her
and
mouth
Swiss.
around that.
How do you eat something
Here's
like
the only.
that?
Here's the only thing.
so
I think it looks
good. Oh, wow.
great.
It
The only
looks
thing
so
I would
good.
probably take the chicken out.
No, the chicken's
No,
one of the
that's-
best part. The crunch.
Yep, I
Haven't you
agree.
heard of
Crunch on the bottom?
texture,
I agree.
Ed?
I would take the chicken out and add an onion ring on top for the crunch.
How do you?
Ooh.
But seriously, how do you eat something like that?
I'm just saying.
I
That's
know.
me.
Carefully.
That was your
It doesn't
workaround.
have to. It doesn't have to.
And
be-
actually,
But you
Ed,
know it needs the
I
texture.
would have totally agreed with you if it didn't list it here as a secret menu.
right.
But-
So I would have been on board with that. But it's a separate section of the website that's arby's.com
But I agree with Ed.
/secret
If
dash
it's a
menu.
secret, it can't just be
well,
on the
yeah,
website.
I think it needs to be on the dark web.
Ooh.
So
To be secret.
I'm actually trying to figure out if you can get to it.
or like in and out. It's
Via
just
their
not.
website.
I don't think it's in the nav. It was. I had to Google it, and it brought me to a separate domain
gotcha.
that's not
Or it's just
in the
bad
nav.
UX and you can't.
You know what they should
It
do?
also-
They should have a.
It's probably that.
What would be fun with the secret menu
I also
is,
burped at the end of that.
is
That's why I
that in
stopped
order
doing
to enter the secret menu, you have to make a pledge of your love of
Secrecy?
meat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
and
that,
secrecy,
yeah.
and your love of meat,
My
like
fealty to meat.
kind of like when you go to
Bend the knee.
when you go to a spirits website,
Yeah.
you have to say that you're over 18 or over
Which is
21
dumb
or
as
whatever. Yeah, I mean
Yes,
because you
I-
can't guess.
I
your
want this
own-
bacon, beef, and
age.
cheddar.
The poppy seed bun is a non-starter for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Death.
Death.
That's my only
Strictly
problem.
because of death.
Hey,
Yeah.
That's my only problem with Arby's. Arby's, just get rid of the poppy seed buns. Nobody cares. Nobody likes them.
Doesn't
It's
make a
just it
difference.
doesn't make a difference, and there are people who are allergic. So just do that for me, and I'll continue to give you much love to our 100 listeners.
100.
Hundo.
Well, I enjoyed this week's show,
No, it's good. I like the
despite
format.
the fact of being
It
sober.
started off pretty fucking rough.
Yeah, it did.
Did
a little
it
bit.
really?
I like
You were
the
very mad at everyone.
You're
Well-
kind of grumpy. It's all right. We
Yeah,
love you.
but I'm over it. I'm over it. I mean, how can I stay mad when you didn't stay mad at me last week?
Oh.
Yeah.
I felt really bad after last week's show. I will say that.
I should. My zit's still there for the record, for those of you who care.
I didn't notice.
It's. Shut up.
I really didn't.
I was like, why were you mad last week? Oh.
Because Ed was talking shit about my zits.
That was the universe conspiring against you. is
Anyway,
what that was.
It's okay, Ed, it
I
happens
promise
to
I haven't been picking at it.
This is life after 50.
Exactly.
Oh, that's upsetting that that's what you said with about that. We'll make it so that you're back in your seat next week.
We'll figure it out. This is
Figure
just
it out.
experimentation.
Was that a euphemism for something?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
No.
Just legitimately back in
Yeah.
your seat.
My thoughts on this, I feel like it can only be a good thing. I haven't done enough research, but I'm scared that our planet is going to be done.
Well, I know, but what if this uses more resources
So
than
that's why I
raisin
said
meat?
I need to look into that more.
I don't think that God, I wish there was just some
There isn't a
some
clear answer.
some real science that we could rely on.
Real
There probably
science.
is, but who has time to go read scientific journals? I don't.
Science.
I barely had time to watch
If only
all the
there was a
videos for this.
podcast that like
I did order the Mueller report, and I'm going to read that over the 4th of July
Really?
holiday. I'm going to read that.
Fucking
I thought
party,
about,
Edward.
I
And the
thought
only
about getting
reason-
the audiobook.
The only reason I'm going to read it
I did.
is if I'm ever in an argument
Oh.
between now and the day I die, which hopefully is still another
Long
50
time.
years away, and somebody says, "Have you read the Mueller report?"
You can say,
I'm going to say,
Bitch.
Yes.
"Yes, I have. Have you?"
Let me quote it. I
Yeah.
have some highlighted tabs on my phone right
I'm pretty
here.
excited to read it, actually. And I guess that Alyssa Milano and a couple other people put on an off-Broadway
Melissa Milano's
reading
a
of the
fucking
Mueller
psycho.
report.
That is awesome.
But yes.
You think she's psycho?
She's a very talented actor who might be a little bit crazy.
Yeah, she
I
might
think
be
that- I
crazy.
think-
And I don't know if I
Most
should be
actors have
very-
a
Here's what
little
I'm going to
crazy.
tell you.
She's no Joaquin.
Most actors that I have met are a little cray-cray.
Yeah, they got a
Exactly.
little
I
crazy.
once met I was with a client who got invited to like a private opening of a new ride at Disneyland or Universal. I think it was Universal. Yes, it was Universal. And we were in the same queue and on the same roller coaster as the guy from Encino Man. What's his name?
Oh, Pauly Shore.
no.
I was saying,
The other
Pauly
one.
Shore's
The
psycho.
big guy.
Oh my gosh, this is killing me.
He was
I know.
big in the 90s and
Yeah.
just
Brendan Fraser?
disappeared.
Yes.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan
That
Fraser.
dude
The Mummy
Yeah.
was
fighter.
I was like, I don't know who played the
Odd.
mummy.
Yeah, he's
not
a
the
weirdo.
mummy. Yeah.
He was very odd.
That-
Tell us more details about that so I can.
Brendan Fraser seems like a weird dude,
He was
but I'm like
just
all
kind
about
of,
it.
yeah,
Like,
he was kind of like, so this is like a Thursday evening, like at maybe 6 o'clock. The whole park is closed for a VIP event. You're showing up. You're kind of being given a red carpet treatment. You know, you have to give them your name, and they check against a list, and you go in, and it was like the super VIPs got to be on the ride, the very first ride. So he was one of those, and he was just kind of like, his hair was a little greasy. He looked like sweaty, like he'd been doing kind of like yard work all day, and then when I said hi to him, his hand was a little clammy, and it was a very weak handshake.
Drugs.
And he was just odd, like sort of just, yeah.
Drugs.
Very.
A weak
well,
handshake
maybe, I
is
don't
very
know.
off-putting, though.
I mean, this was
his
was 10 years ago. So the
so
other
it was right
caveat
before
is
he fell
that,
off the face of the earth.
right. So the other point of this is that he was pretty popular at the time. He was still doing
The Mummy
movies
was
and
probably
stuff.
pretty relevant at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably there for the Mummy.
God, I love the Mummy.
Where'd he go?
The first Mummy.
First one.
Second
Well,
one was okay.
he's acting
Rest of
again. I think he's in
He
stuff
is.
again.
He
Yeah.
is. I'm trying
Now,
to
having
think of
said
other
that,
things
I met Joey Pants once, Joey Pantoliano, and he's a very cool, normal dude.
Okay.
He was fun to talk to. I met him at the same party as Donald Trump Jr., who's as douchey as he looks.
He looks douchey.
He's pretty
like,
douchey.
Super douchey.
Yeah. He proceeded, when he heard what state I was from, he proceeded to tell me, all the great places to hunt in that state.
Of course he did.
At some point, I inserted into the conversation my dad was a wildlife biologist, and I know all the places.
Did you say
You
bitch at
douche.
the end?
I felt like it.
That would be such a great moment. But thanks for that, bitch.
The other actor I've met who's a little strange, but in a good way, is Bill Faberbaki. He plays Patrick Starr.
Yeah.
Oh,
on
yeah,
SpongeBob,
yeah.
and
Yep.
was Dauber in Coach. He's odd, but he's odd in a such a
likable way.
normal
Forgot
way.
about that show.
And he's kind of like your guy you go drinking with, and have beers with, and whatever, play golf, whatever. But is always a little odd, but you like it because he brings that to your group.
Wild card.
Yeah, he's the wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis. and
Very
Hangover.
smart. Yeah, kind of like Zach, the one-man wolf pack. So yeah.
Brendan Fraser, I just looked him up on IMDb. I feel like there's he's in some things recently, but I don't know what they are.
Nothing big. Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know what ultimately was that downfall, but yeah, like The Mummy and like Blast from the Past, and there's a bunch of films from like that time frame where he was like the guy.
What's that one where he was in the doomsday bunker? Is that
That's
Blast from the Past? Okay,
yeah.
I remember that. That was a weird movie.
Very weird movie. Him and Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, who's also kind of a weirdo.
Yeah, surprise.
Iconic role in Clueless, though.
Was that?
Oh yeah.
Was that your phone?
It's gone off several
was my
times.
I haven't heard his phone.
I've been taking sips
And
of my
if you're LaCroix,
LaCroix.
my passion fruit.
passion fruit LaCroix.
You like the
Fruit
passion
Croix.
fruit?
All right, guys. Well, thanks for chatting Beyond Meat with me today. This is I think I like the format. Every once in a while, doing sort of a deep dive into one
Yeah, that was nice.
brand, or getting to take a little bit more of a look.
I'd love to hear from the Beyond Meat people about
Oh, I'm tagging 'em.
their strategy behind ingredient listing,
If anyone has hard science
whether that
facts.
was an oversight or whether it was purposeful, and we can keep any conversations private unless you want to come on the show. But
Yeah.
I'm always
curious.
We're always interested.
we wanna learn.
We want to know. Yeah,
Stun
absolutely.
is their agency.
Stun.
Stun. And
Oh, yeah, we didn't discuss that at
Yeah,
all.
I mean, so I just threw
It's
that in there
whatever.
as kind of reference, but I was not familiar with them.
Never heard of them.
I hadn't heard of
Are
them.
they in Los
LA.
Angeles?
Stun?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's 100 agencies in LA we haven't heard of.
About per block. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a big account.
For sure. So anyway, there was an article on that. So thank you for joining us on this week's episode of AdSquawk. Be sure to follow us at AdSquawkPod on the socials. Chirp at us. Leave us 5-star reviews, please. And comments, shares, likes, all of that fun stuff. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe. So join the flock.
Squeaky.